Inmates gotta have access to drugs. That's just how it is. Now see, if you think about it closely, the BOP and the state DOC, they are allowing drugs to come into their prisons. Okay. Now that might sound a little crazy, but listen to what I'm about to say and it'll all come together for you. Trust me. Inmates have no access to the outside world. Okay. So the BOP and the state DOCs must have a hand in it. That's all there is to it. And I say that because without a shadow of a doubt, if they wanted drugs out of their prisons, they would have it out, but they don't want to. All right, the truth is they cannot afford for inmates to lose their ability to acquire drugs inside a prison. And it goes without saying. Do you have any idea of what will happen if inmates lose access to drugs? Any idea? Okay, drugs are used widely in prison and people's bodies have adapted to it. So, for one, if they eradicated drugs out of prison, okay, some inmates would die because their bodies just won't be able to handle the withdrawals. And that's just a given. That's going to happen to some. Many would lose their minds and commit suicide. The suicide rates for prisoners are already unbelievable. I have a video on here about that. Then others would turn violent and aggressive and unmanageable and would hurt and possibly unalive staff and other inmates. You see, it would just be too much chaos for inmates to not have drugs. And the BOP and the state's DOCs cannot afford to lose their investments. The raw ingredient being the inmate. Somewhere high up, all the heads of the federal and state systems have come together and come up with an agreement. They have to keep their drugs. It's got to be like some kind of unorthodox, off the books type of an agreement that they've made. Think about this. They have X-ray body scanners that show everything on the inside of a person's body and everything on the outside of a person's body, okay? For entry points, that is. Now, for drones, they have all the technology they need to stop drones from dropping packages on prison rec yards. It exists. They have it, okay? It's not unbelievable. They have that type of technology, and they could acquire it. Entry points are regulated and secure. Like they know every person coming in and every person going out. There ain't nothing sliding inside entry points. They control them. They could stop the drugs. Another thing that goes a long way is fraternizing, okay? Years ago, at least in Virginia, if you talk to a correctional officer more than a certain amount of minutes, I think it was 3, then it was considered fraternizing and you would get locked up in the hole. They would put you in the SHU, segregation, isolation, whatever you want to call it. But if you got caught fraternizing, you were gone. Even for the COs, it was considered fraternizing and they would get in trouble as well. Just stay in time, inmates and correctional officers spend way too much time talking to each other. And because of it, there's a window to corrupt correctional officers. All we need is just a couple minutes to talk to them, and we can get anything we want out of them. If more COs rejected these talks or at least got in trouble for fraternizing, there would be less COs tempted to smuggle drugs into the prisons. But there is no accountability, nothing. But you see, if that body scanner / X-ray machine was outside, they wouldn't have to worry about it anyway. Most prisons now only use the Conpass DV full body imaging system, which shows the outer body, nothing on the inside. So trust me when I tell you, the BOP and the DOCs could remove drugs if they wanted to. They just don't want to. They can't afford to lose the investments they have. And I was once an inmate. So trust me when I tell you, if drugs are taken out of the system, their bodies are going to go through changes and they're going to tear the place up possibly and riot. They would pose significantly more danger to officers and other inmates. So what do y'all think, man? Do y'all think that they're really capable of eradicating drugs from the prison system? Or do you think they're not? And do you think they should if they're able to?